Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Topline. I am Marti Bledsoe Post, the founder of Apparently. And just like you, I'm a working parent with a long to-do list and a short attention span. That's why I put together these shows where we spend just 15 to 20 minutes a week talking to a working parent who's dealing with the intersection of family and career. My guest today is Candace Alnaji, who you might know as the mom at law. And I want to have Candace introduce herself and tell us about her kids and her roles. Hi, Candace. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Marty. Thanks for having me on. This is great. So yes, hi there. I'm Candace Alnaji. I'm known mostly as the Mom at Law, my platform that supports women lawyers and working parents. I am also founder of Alnaji Career and Workplace Strategies. And in both my roles as the Mom at Law and in my larger business, I help high achieving professionals navigate career transitions in their job search, with their personal branding, in negotiations at work, basically, all career and workplace strategy issues, as well as for their employers. So with outplacement coaching for people who are leaving, for inclusive workplace strategies, for employee engagement, working parent support, I try to bundle it all together within my company so that I'm offering support from all types of angles.
Mm-hmm. And tell us about your kiddos.
So I have 3 kids. I have a 5-year-old, 5.5-year-old son, and I have 2.5-year-old boy-girl twins. And so it's very busy, and it is something's always happening in our lives. Our son is in school. Our oldest started kindergarten this year, and he's actually been able to start in person. That's been nice, but also scary. Last year when everything shut down during the pandemic, he had to do virtual learning. He was in school at that time as well, a full-time pre-K program at school. And so, we did the virtual learning. We did the whole, wondering if school was gonna go back in session. It was definitely challenging. Then this year, he goes to a small private school, and so that kind of enables them to limit class sizes and space things out on their campus. And I know we're really fortunate to have that during this time, and it feels kind of strange to share when so many families continue to struggle. And of course we could struggle at any minute too, if school have to shut down again, or should our things in our area get worse. But yeah, right now that's where we are.
And so does he go, he goes 5 days a week?
He goes 5 days a week. It's they also did a summer camp, so it was kind of like their experiment to see how things could work for the fall. And we did summer camp as well for about it was a 6-week summer camp. And obviously there were so many concerns and considerations, and we're like, safety, what do we do? And how long will this pandemic last? Was it going to be year after year after year? And we really will have to adapt and find ways to continue working and schooling in this climate. So taking all that into consideration, in their school safety measures, we did summer camp, which went well, no issues. And then this school year so far, things have been going well. So hopefully they continue to. There's masking and distancing and health checks, and we really trust our school. If I didn't have such faith in our school, I think I would have felt very differently and probably would have made some different choices, but I do feel comfortable with what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. And where are the twins every day?
The twins are home still. So I have been doing the work from home with kids thing for a few years since before the pandemic. So I totally understand the juggle and the challenge, and how hard it is. And so the twins, we hope to send to school, the school where our oldest goes, starting next year. And we hope to keep that as our plan. Who knows what next year will look like, but that is the current plan for us. But in the meantime, they're still home with me. My husband, when he's home, he has kind of a variable schedule as a physician where he's on call certain times of the month and then home certain times of the month. And then we have help from my mom, who comes. She wasn't coming for a while early in the pandemic, and so that was hard, but like a lot of people, we've had to kind of adjust and readjust and kind of open our bubble a little bit to make it sustainable. So the twins are home, and we're just kind of chugging along.
Well, you've done this for a while, longer than some of us who kind of got thrown into it in 2020. So is there a tip that you would give parents who are trying to work from home with kids?
Yeah, I would say just change your expectations, which I think a lot of people have already. I think people kind of caught on to that pretty quickly, that they can't expect to work the string like as they always have. And I know that some workplaces, like when you're working for an employer as opposed to working for yourself, or when you're doing it, performing a certain type of work where you have to keep going, like you don't really have the option to maybe break up your day or to work before the sun comes up and then at night, which is kind of how I've been able to get by because I have had that type of flexibility. I'd say even in those cases, there's probably still some flexibility that you can negotiate for, still some flexibility that you can find even within yourself, because sometimes the pressure we feel is very much internal and it's based on how we've been trained to work, how we are accustomed to working, how we like to work. And so it's definitely hard to kind of break those patterns and practices. But that was one thing I learned very early on when I was even working full time for my law firm and working from home. Because I kind of eased into it, I started doing 1 day at a time, 2 days, 3 days, and then in 2017 I fully from home. And on those early days when I was working from home, I just had to realize that the work would get done, but it didn't always happen in the way that I wanted it to happen. But as long as it was still happening and I was managing it internally, it was still getting done. And I was still being a good employee and a good mom. So I think just adjusting our internal expectations and also asking for the support from our employers and from those in our personal lives, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. And do you, I mean, first of all, I love that idea of the flexibility actually being inside us as well as in the schedule and in the expectations others have of us, because I think that's super important, especially for moms to hear. You sound like things are kind of under control in your world. Do you feel that way? I mean, how are you doing?
I feel that way for the most part. I mean, there are still days when it feels like everything's going off the rails. And if I don't have someone like my mom coming to help, or if my husband's been working a lot more during the pandemic as a physician who works in an ICU. So, there's certainly been days where I have less help and it is challenging, but that was kind of just what I built my early work life on, was kind of being very scrappy and learning alternative ways to work that was different from my very rigid, perfectionistic type A, get it all done, hammer it out, so I really had to kind of work on that internally. And so at this point, and also kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, like hoping next year will look a little different, and with my oldest being in school, because for a long time he was home too. There are those kind of things have been falling in place a little bit, so that I do feel a bit more under control than I did, you say, 6 months ago or a year ago.
What's something you've just let go of caring about since the pandemic started?
I guess like how much we interact with the outside world. I as a young mom, I was very much of the type to always need to be out doing outside activities, these enrichment things, and always making sure that we didn't spend too much time in the house. And then I had my twins. And that kind of changed. That shook things up, and I couldn't care as much about that or about these, super rigid routines I had. And then during the pandemic, like everything shut down, and I couldn't feel bad about kind of being stuck at home. I kind of had to, and we were home a lot already, honestly, just having, been still early into our years with our twins.
Mm-hmm.
But I really had to just kind of lean deeper into letting go of the expectation that, outside was where enrichment was to be found, that we could still, benefit at home and just kind of deal with that cabin feverish type thing.
But feel that a little bit, yeah.
But we've still found ways to get out and and kind of enjoy the world as it is right now.
That's good. That's good. And what about, as that time has brought you in that, sort of home mentality, is there a tradition that you've started with your family that you want to continue or that you think is pretty cool?
So we've done so I guess what I thought, I was thinking about this, one tradition that we've started, it has been going to Sonic drive-through in the car with the kids. Just like, we, with a lot of places being closed, we have made it a little tradition of kind of driving around, looking at fun architecture and things, and driving to get ice cream at the, Sonic or wherever. My kids love Blippi, so we put Blippi songs on. So just kind of finding that, having fun like a kid, I guess, because the kids don't mind. They love going for ice cream and looking at fun things, or, going for a drive in the country and checking out cows, or,
Mhm.
and listening to their Blippi songs over and over and over again for
Over and over.
however.
What,
So
remind
just,
me
I
what part
guess,
of the country you're in.
what's that?
Remind me what part of the country you're in.
What part of the country are we
Yeah.
in? Oh, in Buffalo,
Okay.
in New York. So there's like some rural areas nearby, so yeah, so kind of like going on those little long drives and, stopping for ice cream, and we did things like that before, but it really became more of like a regular tradition, like when my husband was home or when I just needed to take the kids out, to kind of just make this little scenic tour our little family activity.
That's a good tip, actually. And I think you're right. The kids' expectations are low.
Right,
A lot.
right.
And we're the ones thinking it's got to be like a full day outing with cultural significance.
Right, like the museum or the art gallery, or,
Yeah.
these fun nature trails, which we still do, but, sometimes we will go to one and it's packed and it's kind of like, well, that's not what we want to, what we'll do today. But, yeah, so kind of just letting the kids take the lead, I guess, in terms of how we have fun that day
Mhm.
within our current boundaries.
What do you do to let go of stress yourself personally?
I like to exercise. Like I have a Peloton, and I do some other workouts that I enjoy. That's always been kind of like my thing, ever since I was young, just working, and then in college and law school, and as a new attorney and as a new mom. And then, of course, every year it's kind of like a new responsibility was added to my life: more kids, more work, more more responsibilities. But that's always been like a way I return to myself, even if it's just for like 30 minutes. It's a good stress reliever, I'd say.
Yeah. Do you have a guilty pleasure for stress relief that you watch or
Oh, that I watch. Oh,
either
let's see.
read or anything?
I like Parks and Recreation
Mhm.
on Netflix, the show. Yeah, so I definitely have a few shows. I like the Goldbergs. We have Hulu, so I don't know what channel they're on, but we watch them on Hulu. I like Oreos. Like it's like yeah. Since my twins, I've like always needed to have like Oreos in the house. So it's
Mhm.
just, yeah, a guilty pleasure.
Okay. I know I want to change that phrase, except everybody knows what I mean, but I want
Right. Yeah.
a guilty
Like a
pleasure.
vice, or like a borderline healthy
Yeah.
vice.
Um, is there something you would put on a t-shirt right now that working parents could wear proudly around? What would it say?
Well, so I'm the mom at law. I have a shop that I sell t-shirts, and so I have one that says Lawyer Mom Beast, and lawyer moms really love that one, and I totally understand why. And so I think for working parents in general, it would be something with like beast, like whatever you are, like working parent beast, or
Yeah.
beast mode on, because I feel like when you are a working parent, you are in beast mode all the time. You're getting things done. You know how to get things done. You're on fire. You're checking things off your list. You're efficient. So I think that really um, sums up the experience of being a working parent, and always just being ready to go and charge and take
Yeah.
care of business.
Yeah. That's awesome. I would wear a shirt like that. What have you done like just for yourself lately? Something that, was just for you.
Just for me. Um, well, I have been working on the website for my new business. That's, I guess, just for me, but to help other people. But I'm not designing it. I have a really great designer, but having input into the design has been really nice, and I have been, helping create some of the content, and so that's given me time to reflect about what I do and what I enjoy and who I enjoy helping, and so I find that really fulfilling. I find work really fulfilling. So, working from home, like just having the opportunity to devote that time to like thinking about what I like to do and strategizing, and just invest in my like career and that professional self, like I find that really fulfilling, and I enjoy that. So I'd
Mhm.
say that's something I've been just doing just for me lately.
Oh, that's really cool. So that's going to be a new site for the mom at law.
A new site for my Alnaji career and workplace strategies. It's going to be at CandaceAlnaji.com. So I'll have two different sites, one for the mom at law, one for my broader career strategy business, helping the mom at law is geared more toward women lawyers, but through my other site, it'll, anybody can hire me through the mom at law, but I feel like offering services through my other site as well will help reach other professionals and other industries, other fields, and yeah.
I'm so glad you said that about that you really enjoy working, and that in and of itself is a fulfilling thing for you, which I know is it's actually on some of your shirts and mugs and things you have available, because I think it's something we don't quite give ourselves permission sometimes to admit.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I was just talking about this with someone recently. Like when I first started working from home and I was transitioning away from full-time work for my firm and starting to work more for myself, I really thought I was going to be taking more of a career break. I knew that I was going to be doing some work, blogging, writing, continuing to do work on, appellate cases for my firm. But I did think that I would have it in me to just work less and, enjoy life more, or whatever I was going to be doing. And then, it turned out that I just I couldn't turn it off. Like I found a great deal of fulfillment in doing a certain type of work and finding new opportunities and creating new things. And I just really loved it. And so even, as my family grew and life just continued to evolve, I just I struggled a little bit with okay, well, I'm supposed to be kind of taking a step back. Like, why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? What am I? But I've gotten to a point where I realize this is just what I like and I really enjoy it. And I think that's okay. And I think, we should not feel guilty about the fact that we, especially, us working moms or mothers with careers, mothers who are in the labor force. I think that guilt comes from not ourselves really. It's maybe more of a learned thing, and of course our feelings come from within, but I do think it's something we're kind of trained to feel. And so getting past that and realizing that you can work for yourself and not just to pay the mortgage or tuition or whatever it is, that's something you really enjoy. I think that's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think I think it's a complicated thing
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of moms. Okay, final question, which is actually, what is something I didn't ask you that I should ask my next guest?
Oh, wow. I'm always interested in knowing what people's future plans are. So if they see themselves where they are now in 5 years, or how they think they, would like to grow, or what they'd like to do differently, or, if they would just continue on as they are now.
That's really interesting. I think a lot of people would take a moment and sit back and think, oh my gosh, that's what, I don't know. It's hard to kind of see past some of the cobwebs of this.
Right.
But by the same token, I think this notion of going back to what we had is really intolerable for a lot of people as well, depending on their circumstances. So I love that idea of kind of projecting forward a little bit. Do you have a feeling for yourself of what your future can look like or will look like?
I do. So I don't have it fully carved out in stone, because I guess I know better than, based on my life experience, I know better than to, forge my plans too deeply. But I do have a general sense. I would like to continue building my company. I would like to have employees. I would like to, still be working for myself, and, from home, or, from some other space that is my own, and to be able to continue being there for my kids, as I desire, picking them up from school, taking them to school, doing those things I also find a great deal of enjoyment in. But just, growing and being open to change, because I think that's been a major theme of mine for, I'd say at least the past 5 years, since my oldest was born, just leaning into change and not being afraid of it and just rolling with it. So I'd say, hopefully the things that I've built are still here in 5 years, and hopefully I'm rolling with whatever changes I'm experiencing at that time.
Thank you. That's an awesome way to look at it. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your time and perspective on behalf of all of our guests. Thank you so much for talking to us today, and take care and hang in there.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Good thing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.